Have you ever wondered what the logo truly means? It's not just a symbol for branding, it's a code. It's the code of how smart money delivers price. Once I understood this, I was never able to look at the market.
Of what they've got lined up, and the deal on the table might be his only shot at daylight. Which makes one thing clear. If Boozy starts talking with proof to back it, Mob Ties could be staring down the kind of case that brings a whole empire crashing to the ground. And here's the wild part. Folks say this isn't just about dice games anymore. This could be the thread that unravels years of secrets tied to Houston's most powerful players. If the whispers are true, Boozy might be standing at the edge of the biggest move of his career, not on stage, but in the courtroom. The streets are saying the feds are quietly positioning him as a potential state's witness, the kind of role that flips the script from defendant to insider. And if he takes that path, the fallout won't just be messy, it'll be historic. Think about it. Boozy sits at the center of two explosive storms, his own federal gun case and the ongoing murder probe into Duke the Jeweler. With both cases split apart, prosecutors have leverage in stereo, squeezing him from every angle. The play is obvious. Talk now, trade names, and maybe walk away lighter. Stay silent, and risk drowning under charges stacked higher than the dice tables that started it all. Insiders whisper that Mob Ties already senses the pressure. The atmosphere around Houston has shifted. Artists are canceling appearances, labels are pulling back, and industry insiders are whispering that Jay Prince's once unshakable grip on the city is showing cracks. If Boozy confirms even half of what people believe he knows, it won't just drag Jay Prince Jr. into the storm, it could put Jay Prince Sr.'s entire legacy on trial. And that's the nuclear fear running through the game right now. Because if Houston's so-called check-in culture collapses, it won't just rattle one city. It could send shockwaves through the entire rap industry, rewriting the power map overnight. Here's where the tension hits a boiling point. Because if Boozy really does flip, it's not just names he could drop, it's details. The kind of inside info that only someone who's been in the room, seen the dice loaded, and watched the plays go down would know. And that's exactly the kind of intel the feds love. Because it turns whispers into testimony and testimony into convictions. But make no mistake, this move would paint a giant target on Boozy's back. The streets don't forget, and snitch is a word that can bury a career just as fast as a federal sentence. That's the razor-thin line Boozy's walking right now. Protect himself and risk his name, or stay loyal and risk his freedom. Either way, the cost is sky high. And don't think the princes aren't feeling the weight either. Insiders say the empire's been unusually quiet, but the silence speaks volumes. Every day this deal hangs in the air, the more it looks like the feds already have their chess pieces in place. All they need is one move from Boozy to push the dominoes crashing down. The big question haunting the rap game right now, does Boozy break the code and bring Mob Ties down from the inside, or does he ride it out and gamble with the rest of his life? The answer could reshape not just Houston, but the entire hip-hop landscape. Right now, the whole rap world is holding its breath, because Boozy's next move could decide everything. If he takes the stand as a state's witness, Mob Ties might not just lose influence in Houston. They could see their entire operation dismantled piece by piece. But if he stays silent, then he risks going down alone, carrying the weight of federal charges that could bury him for good. And that's why this moment feels so dangerous, because either way, the fallout will be ugly. If Boozy flips, the streets will brand him forever. If he refuses, the feds will keep tightening the noose until somebody cracks. It's a lose-lose game, and the dice are already rolling. The silence from Jay Prince Sr. and Jr. only adds more fuel to the fire. They're not speaking, not moving, at least not publicly. But the industry sees the cracks forming. Artists pulling back, labels whispering, promoters steering clear. The same check-in culture that once ran Houston with an iron grip is now trembling on the edge of collapse. So here's the cliffhanger. Does Boozy protect himself and bring Mob Ties crashing down? Or does he stay locked in the code and risk it all?
About yesterday, that would be, he's never told you that, right?
He never told me that.
Does he ever say he runs game on you? Just telling you what you want to hear?
Sometimes.
Okay. Stand over here. I don't have any more questions, brother.
You redirect straight. Yes, Your Honor. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about the pressure world pictures that you just viewed, okay? Okay. All right. Have you ever worked at pressure world?
No,
Would you know where any cameras are?
no,
Okay. And like you said in your direct testimony, you stated that this was the first time that you ever driven up into pressure world.
yes,
Okay. So you've driven past before.
all the time.
Okay. But you wouldn't have known about any cameras just by driving past.
Objection, meeting,
Sit down. So by driving past, would you see anything at Pressure World by driving past it?
No,
Okay. about driving past it?
No.
Okay. And you gave this statement to police officers. It was December 17th from the recording that you just viewed, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that was a month after the murder, correct?
Yes.
So, to your knowledge, do you know if the cameras at Pressure World records interactions outside of Pressure World?
I don't know.
Do you know if it runs on a continuous basis and saves somewhere in the cloud?
I don't know.
Okay. And I'm gonna have you. And it's all up to you to know if the cameras would be even working.
I don't know.
So I'm gonna show you a portion of that same interview that Mr. Lawrence showed you.
You know what I'm saying? And then he started talking about me liking little girls. That's calling me a scraper. That's calling me a scraper. So once he started calling me a scraper, there's no boundaries on what I can say back to you, homie. Like respectfully, you disrespecting me, nigga. It's straight things. I tell these niggas, I'm not a gangster. I'm not a thug, nigga, but I'm a hooligan, you heard? Like, yeah, through and through. I'm not a gangster. I'm not a thug. I'm a hooligan. You know what I'm saying? And gangsters, thugs, hooligans, they all, it's 3 things that can knock all of them niggas off of what they standing on, you heard? Being a mook, being a scraper, and telling on somebody. So he tried to assassinate me. You see me rising on the internet, you see me climbing on the internet, and try to shoot some shit out there. He thought that was gonna end what I had going on. Bitch ass nigga, and I fried him. He ain't been the same on the internet ever since. And this is a fact. Everybody will tell y'all that. But hold up. Let's finish listening to this bozo nigga.
You had something get off your chest. I had something get off my chest. We should have been better and got it off our chest. All this back and forth, that back and forth should have been stopped.
The back and forth should have been stopped a long time ago. We should have met up and got something off our chest. I seen you meet up with 10 troops down. You did nothing. I seen you meet up with Sonetta. You did nothing. You on there telling Sonetta. I said, once my mother died, I was going to do something to you. And you ain't do nothing to him. But you swore to your mother, if she died, that you was going to do something to that man. You met up with him, you ain't do nothing. down, you ain't do nothing. You was beefing with Five Guard. They said all type of foul things about you and your and they don't want to put us on. That you had mad multiple Dr. Hippos running around. He don't want to put us on. Now you back around him. You met up with him. What you want to meet up with me for? Hold up. Hold up. You, let me remind you. You see the thumbnail? You said that man did something to you when you was a little kid. You said that man that you don't got no issue with him? You don't got no issue with him? How you got an issue with me? How you gonna meet up and do something with me and when you met up with this nigga and took this? You got the same hat on that you got when you was in the park. Talking about you was exposed to them. But you had the old timer in the park. The old timer wasn't in the park saying Ben was doing nothing to no little kids. He was in the park saying everybody knew how that nigga was. Everybody already knew how that nigga was, man. Yeah. He was like, yo, you so big, man. Like, nigga, I ain't know you say I ain't no F word. Yeah, like what you mean, nigga. I ain't no F word. What you mean? Do something to me, hold up. I see you meet up with some toes now. You ain't do nothing. I see you meet up with Five Guard. You ain't do nothing. I see you meet up with Sinetta. You ain't do nothing. I see you meet up with Bad Body. You ain't do nothing. You want to meet up with me? Because you want to sell the internet. You want to meet up and do something? What we get a set? We got to get squawky. You want to meet up and squawky? Because you don't want to get busy, nigga. You don't want to get busy, nigga. And why would you want to get busy with me and I always say something to you when you claim that this nigga who you in the picture with got your little yeeks, nigga. You got your little yeeks from let you tell and you met up with him. Look at you, you had muscles. Look at you, you was a grown ass adult. Look at you. Look how grown you was in this picture, bro. Look how grown you are. I don't get it. Why you want to meet up with me? And do what? You said this nigga violated you to the fullest extent. He took your manhood from you. He took your manhood from you. Come on. Come on. And you wanna... I'm telling you, every time you make a match, make you look more stupid and stupider, but I'm about to make you look mad stupid. Because this thing, and it's part of me. It is part of me. Why don't you finish? Man and man, I don't consider you a man, brother. I don't consider you a man. Because I saw the pictures after being bottom. I don't consider you a man. You're a light-skinned joint. Man, you're a light-skinned joint, nigga.
if what you're doing in your life right now is working, if you have peace, if you have good relationships with loved ones, or if you have healthy boundaries, if you're able to put your head on your pillow at night and just fall asleep, if you've got control of your marriage or your parenting, if what you're doing is working, then maybe you don't need therapy, but for most of the people I talk to, they don't know what the next right move is. So I would say go sit down with somebody, a neutral third party, and just say, that also benefited my daughter, it benefited my son, it benefited my wife, it benefited my workplace. But a healthy you has a ripple effect through countless other hurting families and hurting communities and hurting workplaces. And so I think a healthy you is the foundation of a healthy us.
Takeoff just hours before he died. And what Prince supposedly said on that call, straight up pressure. Mace said Prince was pressing Takeoff about some loyalty issues, and not in any chill big brother kind of way either. This wasn't a friendly check-in. It was tense, controlling, and it sounded like Prince was trying to make sure Takeoff stayed in line. According to Mace, once Takeoff started distancing himself and stopped playing by Prince's rules, everything started going sideways and fast.
Problem, Jay Prince, and I'm gonna tell you like this: if you're 60 years old and you trying to be a street, you failed. You failed. You failed. You failed.
Now here's what's really scary. That call supposedly happened the same night Takeoff was gunned down outside that Houston bowling alley. A dice game, an argument, shots fired. And just like that, Takeoff was gone at 28. And when Mace finally spoke up, Prince snapped. He jumped on social media, tossed out some veiled threats, and even circled back to his shady comments about Offset, accusing him of not showing up for Takeoff when it really mattered. Remember this. You wasn't really there with Takeoff when he was alive. You wasn't really right there with him. That line, that's what lit the fuse. Jay Prince took a jab at Offset, and just like that, the beef exploded. Cardi B even stepped in to defend her man. It got messy fast. But now that Maze is calling out this private phone call between Prince and Takeoff, Prince is back in full panic mode, trying to clean up a mess that's already out of control. But it's too late. The street's already talking, and they ain't letting it go this time. One fan on X said it best: nobody respects Jay Prince after Takeoff died on his watch. That hit hard, and that's when folks really started giving Jay Prince and the whole Mob Ties crew the serious side-eye. See, right after Takeoff was killed, Patrick Xavier Clark, aka DJ Pat, got arrested real quick. But here's the shady part. Dude posted $1 million bond and just strolled out of jail like it was nothing. That got people asking questions, like, who's got that kind of pull? Who wanted DJ Pat free so fast? And here's the real head-scratcher. Folks been saying online that Jay Prince literally walked right past Takeoff's body and kept it moving. No emotion, nothing, and even wilder. Jay Prince Jr. allegedly had his name removed from DJ Pat's bond paperwork. Why take your name off something like that, unless you're trying to distance yourself from the whole scene? They were all there that night. So why the sudden disappearing act? Now the pressure's on, and it ain't just DJ Pat the streets are watching anymore. Remember Joshua, aka Lil Cam Fifth? Yeah, the same dude who got picked up on unlawful weapon charges right after Takeoff got killed. He's tied straight to Mob Ties. And every time somebody ends up in a body bag, somehow these dudes with ties to Jay Prince Jr. are right in the middle of it. Yet Mob Ties still want to act like they're the victims? Come on now. The streets ain't falling for that no more. Let's not forget, Takeoff wasn't the first red flag. Before him, there was Duke the Jeweler. Flew into Houston, checked in with Mob Ties, played some dice, and left in a body bag. Same exact setup. Same shady silence. And guess whose name was floating around again?
Tell you another thing, when you're dealing with older people, they're the last to know that things have changed. We not your Lord. Like, the way you talking, I don't get what you mean.
Jay Prince! Y'all remember that strange clip where Jay Prince told his shotgun man to fall back? That wasn't random. It looked like a whole coordinated move. Like this ain't no one-time thing. It's a pattern now. Invite rich artists to Houston. Make them check in with Mob Ties. Throw a dice game. Start an argument. Security act clueless. Somebody ends up dead. And then here comes Jay Prince dropping another one of those fake deep Instagram posts talking about black-on-black violence and how grief is the price of love. Man, cut it out. Where were y'all when blood was still fresh on the ground? And here's what really got folks side-eyeing. None of the Princes showed up to Takeoff's funeral. Not a single one. That ain't just shady, that's cold. Why? Maybe because they knew something. Maybe because they felt that heat. Jay Prince Jr. even out here, tweeting cryptic stuff like, "Don't wear jewelry around vultures." If you knew your guest wasn't safe, why bring him there in the first place? Why didn't you warn Quavo and Takeoff if things were heating up? What's the point of this so-called check-in system if it can't even keep people safe? Word is, Quavo was arguing with Jay Prince Jr. right before those shots went off. And now, new footage shows Prince brushing the whole thing off like his name ain't all over it. Like Takeoff didn't just die under his crew's watch. Right after Jay Prince threw shade on Cleveland.
in the courtroom.
Jury now into the courtroom.
They will call Sergeant Daddy.
Stand this way, sir. Stand right here, face your honor. Raise your right hand, please.
Please swear on the proper township.
I do.
Have a seat. Watch it. Good morning.
Good morning.
You state your first and last name for the record.
First name is Terrence, T-E-R-E-N-C-E. Last name Dabney, D-A-B-N-E-Y.
And for the benefit of our viewers who may be taking notes, could you spell your first name?
T-E-R-E-N-C-E. Dabney, D-A-B-N-E-Y.
I'm sorry, I probably missed the first time I said it. What is it, person in here? Right, and where are you employed?
I'm retired.
Retired, where are you retired from?
I'm retired from the Memphis Police Department.
And how long were you with the Memphis Police Department?
I was with the police department for 26 years.
And what rank did you attain?
I was a sergeant.
The sergeant, yeah. Were you with the Memphis Police Department back on November the 17th, 2020?
I was.
And did you participate or have a role in the investigation involving the homicide of Adolph Gordon Jr.?
I did.
And what was your role in that?
I was the lead investigator of that homicide.
As a lead investigator, what is a lead investigator?
Well, we sort of delegate with other investigators, delegate roles. We also gather evidence, fact findings, videos, whatever we do to obtain evidence for the case.
There were several suspects in this matter, were there not?
They were.
Did you also become involved in the investigation involving Justin Johnson,
I did.
Cornelius Smith,
I did.
and also Hernandez Golden?
I did.
So the homicide, when did it take place?
November 17th,
In 2021.
2021. Correct.
Did you have a suspect on that day?
We had a suspect named.
And what suspects? We're having a hard time this morning. What suspects did you have on that day?
The tip came in that there was an individual by the name of Straight Drop, Justin Johnson, and Cornelius Smith.
On November the 20th, so a few days after this matter, was there significant development in the case?
Because we got a tip about a vehicle behind an abandoned house.
And you recall what street that was on?
Got the name of the street.
The name Bradley?
Bradley, yes, right on the name, yes, Bradley.
Bradley and Hayes.
Yes.
I'd like to show you what.
The vehicle.
You recall what vehicle?
It was a Mercedes. Yeah, Mercedes.
We could have that as evidence as the next moment.
Okay. White House with black roof, with grassy front yard, driveway. Drive by the witnesses to the place where they found the mistake. So Marcus and Exhibit 9.
This one is the,
Sorry, on the screen.
oh, I'm sorry. You want me to describe this?
Yes.
Okay, that's, White House. It's kind of cream color, it's kind of White House with a big brown top with, cover over the front porch, or that gate, and the driveway to the left there.
And this is the house you described that had, that you found the car on Greg.
That's correct.
You have another photograph for you, person that you met. What are you looking at?
Looking at, the numbers that I wrote, flex on one hand, handwritten on the side of the house.
And it's a very accurate depiction of the numbers that they were written on the house on the day.
Yes, 11/7.
Any objection to this? No. Thank you. This is what appears to be the side paneling of a building. It's been specified that it's the side of the house on Bragg and with the numbers 1174. We'll mark this as Exhibit 10.
Commissioner Post. Another photograph in front of you.
Yes.
Where you look at
And, the part that was located, it was toward the rear of the house, on the side, in the backyard. On the rear of the house.
And does that photograph depict anything of the
It's the, photo of the Mercedes-Benz.
trying to get the evidence
Picture of the side of the house with the back of everybody's Mercedes back of the house.
another photograph. If you could just tell us what we're looking at.
Yeah, we're looking at the side of the home, where the driveway is. Mercedes being in the rear of the home and two individuals standing slightly behind the Mercedes. is parked in the backyard, appears to be under some trees or limbs.
Have the investigation. This is what you described as a close-up of the Mercedes-Benz in the backyard amongst some limbs and trees. Will Marcus really?
Yes, to
Describe this.
next photo is a close-up of the front of the Mercedes-Benz front, maybe passenger side. Again, parked up on this bush.
Have it in the next one. This is a close-up of the front of what's been described as the Mercedes in the backyard. Some limbs. Will Marcus Exhibit 13.
This next photo is a close-up of the passenger side of the Mercedes-Benz. Looks to be the Mercedes-Benz has some damage to the passenger side compared to the front door. It's down. And it's again up the tree limbs.
Passenger side of the white Mercedes that's been described as in the backyard behind the house. There appears to be damage to the rear, possibly the door of the Mercedes. Will Marcus Exhibit 14.
Under permission to publish the last series of figures that were
Many public that they know what is going to go. Showing what is previously been marked as exhibit number 11. Sergeant Cadman, could you explain to us what we're looking at?
We're looking at the home at 1174. And this is the driveway on the left side of the house. The Mercedes-Benz is in the rear of the house on the grass, surrounded by tree limbs. And we have two investigators, 2 minutes.